Hey, what's going on? Welcome in. This is episode 45, live production. Today's episode, we're talking about the buyer's breakdown. This will be going live on the 16th of June. Today on the podcast, I shared my favorite tools for running my online business. So if you're not subscribed yet to the podcast, go to Apple Podcasts or to Spotify, search client by client, subscribe it up. And then I want for you to go and discover my 9 favorite tools that I use to run my online business. I think 2 of them you may have never heard of before. So be sure to listen for those. And then when you go and tune in, I want to know afterwards over on Instagram, send me a DM at whatupjeremy. Which tools do I need to know about that I didn't share on there? We're going to get started here in just about 10 seconds. So I hope you're ready to go. Let's hop in. Let's do this. And let's talk about 50% of people that never buy and what to do to get the other 50. All right. Hey, what's up? Jeremy here from whatupjeremy.com, back with another episode of Client by Client. Thank you so much for tuning in here today. On the last episode of Client by Client, we talked about shoulding on yourself. When you should on yourself and you should on others, you really just limit possibility. You take away all the potentials of beauty and amazing things that can happen to you to instead focus on negativity, to instead put yourself down into a state of not being empowered. And when you do that, it starts to leach into every area of your life. In fact, in business, you may not have this tendency to should on yourself, but if you're getting should on by everybody else, then maybe that's finding its way into your business. This happens, guys. The shooting and the getting shooted on that happens to us by the people closest to us in our lives, the people that we trust the most. Sometimes that being ourselves. So I want for you to backtrack one episode. This is an important episode to me because a lot of us have negative self-talk going on, and I want to help you to identify it, to eradicate it, and replace it with more empowering things. So be sure to backtrack one episode to hear to episode 44 to hear why you should on yourself. In today's episode, we're talking about how 50% of people will never buy from you, from me, from competitors, from anyone. And I want to share with you how to capture the other 50%, the mindsets, the frameworks, and what we need to know in order to get the other 50% of people who will actually buy. If you don't get today's episode right, there's really 2 things that will wind up happening to you short and long term. The first is that you'll have the wrong expectations of lead generation. You guys have heard me pounding the drum of not doing paid ads, about being on the offense, about conversations over conversions. These are some of the mindset misnomers that most coaches have. Most coaches doing under 30K that just haven't figured it out just yet. You have the wrong expectations of lead gen. And if you don't get today's episode right, that will continue on. So you will not fully understand what it takes to do both adequate lead generation and adequate client acquisition. And so you don't wind up with clients. The second thing that happens is that you miss out on client getting opportunities. You hop on a sales call and someone says no, and you take that as a never gonna happen. And instead, there's a mindset shift that you can make and some systematic processes that you can change that allow for you to still be the coach that maybe didn't get the client on that conversation, but to most definitely put yourself in the position to be the coach they sign up with when they are ready. And so if you don't get that, what ends up happening is that you miss on the chance to transform your market's lives, individuals in your niche's lives. And that means that you wind up with less revenue. It makes it harder to consistently be above anywhere close to $5,000 a month. And you wind up questioning yourself and your journey and just thinking that you don't have what it takes, when in reality, you just don't have the right mental frameworks in order to bring this part of your business to life. That being said, let's hop in. The first thing that I need to share with you is the buyer's framework. This is another one of those magical lessons I learned from Dean Jackson. Dean basically discovered about 20 years ago at a tile industry expo show that all of the people, all of the construction workers, all of the families and friends that went to this expo, all their data was captured before they entered, and they had someone follow up with them 2 weeks afterwards to see if they bought or if they didn't buy. While you probably don't do flooring or tile like my dad did, so I know a heck of a lot about it, you can match up these numbers with your industry. They're going to fall somewhere in the general context and the generalities of this same framework. So what they did is after 2 weeks, they called every attendee and said, did you buy tile? Did you find something? If they said yes, okay, mark it down. If they said no, okay, got it. And then they follow up with them about every 90 days to a year as time went on. And they found that about 50% of people will never buy. They'll never buy online. They'll never buy from you. They'll never buy from a competitor. They are not buyers. They never put themselves in a buying making decision. And you might find it hard to believe that people will never buy, but the reality is 50% of your market, give or take, will never buy online coaching. They will just continue on with their problems and either make it in coaching or not. And they will, or make it with the thing that you help them with or not. 50%. So if that's the bottom 50, let's just set them in a box and to the side. That leaves you with the other 50%. And that 50% of people who will buy can be broken down into two brackets: the now buyers and the future buyers. So we already know that 50% of people are never going to buy. That leaves you with the other 50. And what they found through this, and then while these are probably not the exact numbers that will match up with your market or will match up with your data over your coaching career, you can basically map it to this data and you're going to fall in the same ballpark. And what they found is of the remaining 50%, 15% of them are ready to buy right now. They are in a buying making mode, decision process. They are looking for a solution actively. They have the money for it, and they are the decision maker. That's about 15% of your entire market, your entire niche. And you could look at your email list, your social media followers, and you could kind of map it to these same general metrics. That leaves you with only one more bracket, right? The other 85% of the remaining 50%. And those are what we would call future buyers. So 15% of buyers are ready right now, or in the next 2 weeks, they're going to be actively making that decision or wanting to. The other 85% are future buyers, meaning they will make a decision in the next 2 weeks to the next 2 years and beyond. But we're going to focus on those first 2 years just to bring this closer to home and to reel your focus in into understanding what you can be doing. Because if you're listening to the show right now, my hunch is that you don't plan on quitting coaching over the next 2 years. Is that accurate? Am I right in that or not? Part of, as you guys know, my mission of the show is to expand your vision of how long you see yourself in the industry and to get you to that point, which means doing the right thing in the right order at the right time and then doing it for enough time and then creating systems, if you want to really go further, then creating systems where it does that on its own or creating systems that eradicate unnecessary tasks and unnecessary thinking. When you understand this buyer's framework and you know what to do, everything becomes easier and everything becomes more clear, and your expectations can actually be aligned with reality and aligned with truth, and you can better prepare for your sales calls and manage your expectations. So we've already talked about the buyer's framework. I call it the buyer's breakdown. It's the understanding that 50% of people are never going to buy. 50%. That leaves you with the other 50%. And if we take that as a whole, 15% of them, of your market, of your prospects that come your way. So if you go through your messenger, if you go through your email list, if you go through your Facebook, anybody who's reaching out to you, 15% of those people are ready between right now and in the next 2 weeks, and they're going to make that decision in these next 2 weeks. The other 85% are going to be ready in the next 2 weeks to the next 2 years and beyond. So thing number one is you have to understand the buyer's framework. And while your data and your numbers aren't going to be exact to this, you are going to be within 5 to 10% of all of this. Maybe your market is 60% of people that never buy, 5% of them are ready, and the other 95% are future buyers. It all depends, but you can basically break it down into this and then come up with your own numbers. But use this as your rubric, use this as your guide. The second thing that I want to now talk to you about, now that we understand the buyer's breakdown, the buyer's framework, let's talk about the now buyers. And I want to start this by sharing something one of my dearest friends, one of my past clients, one of my closest friends, Carrie Conley, shared with me. Her husband used to call these bluebird buyers. I want to know if you've had any of these happen before, because if not, you will have this happen eventually. Some people call this first time's luck. Some of this call this good luck and good fortune. I now call these bluebird buyers. And it's when someone enters your world, like they find you online or they find you on social media. And then when they go and look you up, they leave comments, they watch your stuff, and they even go as far as to reaching out with you, maybe booking a call without any conversation needed or with a minimal conversation needed. And they show up to that call on time, maybe even early. They play full out. They're a breeze and so much fun to actually have this sales call with. They know what's up. They're here to be sold because they feel like they found a solution and they want to make a decision. They have a problem and they know that you can solve it, or they have the inkling. And then when you get to the end, they say, what do I got to do? Like, do you have room for me? Do you take credit card? They're asking you these questions. One, when you do that, they're chasing you. You have executed on episode 5 of this show successfully. You and your content, you've taken everything we've done here and you've gotten your first Bluebird buyer. The Bluebird buyer is kind of the idea that it drops in your lap and it feels like it's just perfect timing. They discovered you at the exact perfect time. They jive with you. They love your vibe. And they love everything you do. They just maybe have a question or two and they're ready to go. Bluebird buyers. So ever since Carrie told me this, I have now taken that and now I share it with my audience, and I share it anywhere I can, specifically when I'm talking about the buyer's breakdown, so that you understand that of all of the people that come your way, there's gonna be a few of them that are ready right now. So it becomes important that you know what to do and what to say in that moment so that you don't lose a sale and so that they don't go anywhere else. And so they don't continue suffering on with a problem that you can help them to solve. Those are Bluebird buyers, all right? And you need to optimize your system and optimize your way of existing as an online coach in your lead gen, in the client acquisition part of your business, so that when someone is ready, you have what it takes to close them and to start coaching them. At the very basic level of this, you have to, if we're thinking about basics for someone, maybe you're the newest of all new coaches and you had some good luck and someone's ready to work with you. What do we need to do? Well, if we're at that stage, we need to have a way to capture payment. Maybe you don't have Stripe yet, but you have PayPal. Take the money in. Long term, set up a business PayPal and a business Stripe account so that you can easily capture those payments, but you need a way to take the money in. And a lot of coaches will overthink this and will think that they need a Kajabi or a full-blown system and an LLC for collecting the money. Yes, you do need that mid to long term, but if you have an opportunity in front of you, you decided on coaching, you haven't set up those things yet, capture the money and start working with them, and then use those funds to go and set up your LLC and the other stuff that you need in your account, and the other stuff that you need in your business. Then you need a way to book the calls with them. So that would be Calendly, right? And that will help you to book the call, maybe set up the calls on the calendar. But like, even if you have a client already, you don't need Calendly. I would just have them choose what time to book a call with you and then have that being the exact same time if possible, and the exact same time window and time frame for the next 6, 8, 12 weeks, however long their coaching is. Let me find the episode where we talked about this. Let's see, 4 daily habits, 6 things, be everywhere. Was it this one? Was it episode 19? Let's make sure. Let's find which one. You only need one. And it's where we talk about Calendly a little bit in depth. Okay, it's not there. Let's see. Okay, let's go into my main notes real quick. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out while I get this situated, because I want to plug the right episode for you guys so you know where to go. Okay, it wasn't there, so it needs to be here. Appreciate your guys' understanding that we do these live to get you guys some help and to show up live, but we turn these into a podcast. That's really the point of this, so I can edit this all out. And I can't pinpoint which it was. Money stays, follow up, basics, MVP. Let's see here. Proven path. Nope. Nope. Darn it. All right, I'm going to move on if I'm not able to find it in this next quick little search. And we just won't plug it, or I'll say in past. Okay, in episode 37, which is not up yet, so I can't even talk about that. It's hot in here. Reset, growth. All right. Back to the episode. In past episodes, we talked about the basics that you need. We talked about Calendly and how you really need that if you're booking calls. But if you have a client, just book them into your calendar, book those calls so that they're on your calendar recurring and you don't need something else to go and be booking them. So take those funds, take them in. Don't wedge something in between you and getting the client and landing that sale. It's going to keep you from getting it. And so many coaches talk themselves out of the sale, which is the biggest thing you need to have on your radar, is that if you land that opportunity, you get that bluebird client who's ready to go and ready to go now. Do everything in your power to not talk that person out of working with you and over talk yourself. You have to be listening to them, subjugating your own needs, wants, and desires to put them first. This is how you get the client. Don't put something in between. You need to capture them. All right. You need to ask them, how would you like to pay for it? And like these sort of questions are what get you closer to having the client. All right. Like you're almost there if you're having those sorts of things. And a lot of us will end up having some luck when we launch our coaching business. Capture them. Longer term, you still don't need a Kajabi or a high-end checkout system. I still use Stripe, and I make a product in there and a product link, and bada bing, bada boom. In past episodes, we've talked about, like in episode 37, scrapping your website. We talked about some of these systems and some of these things. You just need Stripe. That's all you need. Stripe is free, and there's a small fee for every transaction, and you don't have a recurring monthly thing like a lot of these other checkout cards and a lot of these other content management systems that you have to pay for. So Bluebird buyers, they're the kind of ones that fall on your lap, and the time is now. Right when they find you on Instagram, right when they find your content, right when they find you on YouTube, they reach out, they book a call, and all of a sudden they're a client. That's the now buyers, okay? That's the 15 or less percent. Now let's talk about thing number 3, which is future buyers, okay? This is the remaining 84%. This is where the majority, if we're looking at the numbers, the majority of your clients will find you online, your group, your YouTube, your email list. They'll discover you. They'll binge your content. They'll do everything, but they're still not ready to buy. They will at some point in time. They're buyers. They will buy in the future at some point in time, maybe from you, maybe from a competitor, maybe from an ad that enters the conversation going on in their mind. Maybe from a coach, another coach who they joined their group and they just jive with them, and that coach had the right system for the now buyer, and they're in the future, they're outside of the 2 weeks or inside of the 2 years, and they're in your world, but they land in someone else's group and they're ready to go, and maybe you primed them up. So it's also important that you have the right systems and the right things in place to capture these future buyers. And what this looks like is a bit more passive. You'll notice at the end of every one of these episodes, I say something pretty much exact same way, which is, whenever you're ready, here are a few ways I can help you. Because there's only 15 or so percent of you, 50% of you listening to this are never going to join my coaching program or even think about it. About 15% of you listening right now, give or take, are thinking about joining a coaching program and maybe even already considering reaching out to me for help. You should reach out for help, and you should see what it is that we do have, because right now is, I think, the most affordable time to work with us. And also, time is of the essence. You only have so much time, right? You never know when something's going to happen. You never know when starting today is going to end up playing out for you better in the future. Best time to plant a tree 20 years ago. Next best time was today. So there's a percentage of you ready to buy right now, but the majority of you listening to this, the overwhelming majority, 85% of you, if you do join a coaching program, it's going to be sometime after these next 2 weeks, but in these next 2-ish years. So you have to have the right things in place, which is why at the end of these episodes, I say, whenever you're ready, here are a few ways I can help you. And I give things away for free. I made a CRM for my business. I noticed that my clients often didn't have. I noticed that seasoned coaches come my way and didn't have a CRM. So I made it so that others can use it. It's called GetBookedCRM, and I tell you at the end where you can get it. So I want to give you value. I want to show you that I have tools for you so you get a small taste of what it's like to work with me. I say, join my free group for online coaches, because in there I have trainings. I have client testimonials. I have other people that you can be around, and others examples of stellar and standout coaches than just besides me. Humble brag, not trying to brag or anything, but I humbly say that. And then I say at the end, whenever you at the end of that call to action, I also say, become my next success story. And so that's me covering the buyer's breakdown. So if you're ready now and I say, become my next success story, you're going to hear that and say, let me reach out like a few of you already have. And then when I say my CRM and my group, the now buyers, they're going to go and get those things too and be replying and commenting and doing all of that. But they're also going to be reaching out saying, hey, I want to know about your case study program, which is the message you guys have been sending me. I want to know more about this thing that you talk about at the end of each episode. Do you have a group coming up? Can I be a part of it? That's why I do that. It's one of our strategies in the Get Clients program. It's called the Store Tour. I'll probably cover it more in depth on a future episode, but I do this in my emails. I do this on my episode verbally. I do this in the description when I upload this on YouTube and I pin it as a comment. So I use this so that I can capture the now people and so that I can nurture the future buyers. Now, you might get on a sales call with someone and think they're a bluebird buyer, that they discover you, they get on a call with you and they're like, dude, I just came your way, it was perfect. Or you just came my way, you were heaven sent. You'll hear these things, guys. And I just love your stuff and, ready for some help. But you get to the end of the sales call and they're not ready for one reason or another. They don't have the finances. It's not the right time. They need to talk to their wife, their spouse, their significant other. They need to think about it. They need to pray about it. They need to do something. You have to also manage your expectations because you also need to manage your expectations during those situations because they might look and feel like a bluebird buyer. And when they say, or when a circumstance arises where they can't sign up that day, that doesn't mean they're a never buyer. So one of the other things that you need to know from this episode is that you have yeses to your programs, but you don't have not nows. I'm going to say that again. You have yeses for your program. Those are folks who are ready to go and they're ready to put their money on the line to get help and to get results. And then you have people who now is not the right time. It's not no, it's not right now. And this is one of the mental shifts I need for you to have coming from this episode because you are going to get a lot of people who use the word no with you when you make them an offer, both for giving away your free stuff and also for selling your paid stuff. And while they might be a no right now, that does not mean that they might be ready in the future, or that doesn't mean that they're not going to be ready at some point in the future. This is why you need to compose yourself in such a way that doesn't react when someone isn't ready or not now and starts getting kind of pushy or starts like kind of throwing their world and their words at them and using it to pin them in a corner. When someone is not ready, have faith in that you have other tools and resources, or start building one by one other tools and resources for them. So when someone gets it to the end of the sales call and they smelt like a buyer, but they aren't one just yet, they're going to be ready sometime in the future, or they're not ready right now, you can say, well, are you in my group? Oh, you are? Let me get you this resource. You mentioned that you mentioned this is like a thing you're overcoming. Let me get you this resource. Have you gone through my free X, Y, or Z guide? No? Okay, after this call, I'm going to take a little breather outside before my next call. I need to use the bathroom before my next call. And then what I'm going to do at the end of my day, I'm going to send you a couple of these resources based on what we've chatted about here today. And that way we can get you to a time when you're ready. And then when the stars align and you are ready, we can have another conversation like this one and we can make a plan together and we can make it happen and ride off into the sunset. How does that sound? And they're going to be so thankful that you didn't get weird, get upset, start really getting angry and frustrated and showing that. You got to hold your composure. For some of you, me saying all this is a little bit of a reality check because what ends up happening is that person who said they're not ready right now, they most definitely won't buy from you in the future if you act that way. But if you instead show them grace and treat them the way you would want to be treated and not just let people walk and let their words be the thing, having a full-formed conversation, a well-rounded conversation around this allows for you to stay neutral and allow for the best possibility to emerge, the highest and best possibility for your prospect. Even if that means waiting, even if that means that right now is not the right time, but creating a relationship with them over the long term where when they're ready to go, they remember you and they remember that sales experience and they want to buy from that kind of coach and work with that kind of coach. And that is how you capture the other 50% of the market who will buy at some point in time. This is what it comes down to, guys. Too many of you are letting prospects who say no, you get angry, they most definitely don't come back, right? Every coach has had a situation like this where you either had the sales call under the wrong energy or you worked yourself into the wrong energy. You allowed for them to work you into the wrong energy, and then you blow that whole 45 minutes and they're never going to come back. That's really time wasted, but a valuable lesson learned if that keeps you from doing it, if you learn the lesson and that keeps you from doing it down the road. So it's never no, it's always not now. Create systems and means and methods for nurturing those people over the following 2 years so that when they are ready, you become the So when they are ready, you become the coach they go to and sign up with. So, guys, 50% of your market's never going to buy. The other 50% is full of buyers. A small percentage will be ready now. The majority of them will be ready in the future. Make your system, make your business accommodating for both of those, and manage your energy appropriately through your lead generation, your client acquisition, and this is how you become the coach they sign up with, even if it's not the day they find you. In the next episode of Client by Client, we're going to be talking about the difference between conversations and leads, convos and leads. There's a lot of you guys are now warmed up to the idea that leads aren't clicks and email subscription and email subs. They are, a lot of you guys have the wrong perception of what leads are. You're now open to the idea of conversations that we've talked about over the last 45 episodes about conversations over clicks and how conversions come through the conversation. We're going to build on this, and we're going to really draw a fine line in between what makes a lead and what makes a convo. Which is better? Which should you optimize for? What should you do? You're going to have to tune into tomorrow's episode to find out all of the good. So be sure to come back and listen in for that one. Whenever you are ready, here are a few ways I can help you grow your online business. Coaches, are you still managing your leads, pipeline, and deal flow through Instagram, DM, Messenger, and your email inbox? Well, you're leaving a lot of money on the table and you're losing a lot of leads in the cracks. That's why I created GetBookedCRM. It helps you get leads and turn them into clients in half the time. I made some updates to it just this last week and I got a few more copies. I'd love to get to some hungry coaches. So, if you'd like a copy of that, find me on Instagram at WhatUpJeremy and send me the letters CRM, and I'll share with you where to go and grab your copy. Next, coaches. Second, join my free group for online coaches. If you're an online coach looking for more clients and to have these systems dialed in and ready, I put together a group of coaches that has almost 1,000 coaches from all over the world in it. Get around them and me and get access to weekly trainings and resources I find valuable in my business that you can implement in yours. All you have to do is find me over on Instagram and send me the word group, and I'll know what to do, or drop group wherever you're tuning into this show, or search Leverage Coach on Facebook. Lastly, become my next success story. I'm getting a couple coaches together this month to implement my methods for injecting 15K worth of new clients or doubling your online client roster over the next 30, 60, 90 days. But finding the right people is the most important thing to me. So this is only for you if you are a relationship-focused coach who always puts the person ahead of the money. You've been coaching for at least 1 year, or you're not brand spanking new to online coaching. You like to get 3 to 5 clients organically from social media every month without paid ads. You have at least 300 friends on a social media platform, email list, or group. You're willing to take bold action because you know that your success depends upon it. And last but not least, you can keep a secret. If that's you, I want you to find me over on Instagram and message me the words case study now. If that's you, I want you to grab your phone and find me over on Instagram at WhatUpJeremy and send me the words case study. When you do that, I'll ask a couple questions to find out more about your business and your goals, and then I'll share with you what we have coming up this month, how we're already helping other clients with this and other students in the Get Clients program, along with testimonies from other Get Clients students of the past, and which part of the program will likely have the highest impact the soonest on your online business. All you have to do is message me the words case study over on Instagram, and I can get you all the details. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Client by Client. See you in the next one. Cheers. Okay. It is freaking hot here in Arizona. If you made it all the way live, if you made it all the way to the end of today's episode, will you drop hot in the comments in all caps? That way, whether you're live or in the replay, I can tell you hi and give you a shout out. Would love to shout you out in a future episode. So if you're liking this and getting value, be sure to rate this in whatever podcast, rate and review in whatever podcast platform you're tuning into. This really helps the algorithm and for me to get in front of more of the right people and to help them with this show and with more of the tools and resources that I have. And it would mean the world. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you guys back again tomorrow. Cheers.